public session.
All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to our meeting today. The first order of business is the minutes from our September 27th meeting in the public session. Are there, well, first of all, actually, let me just start by saying I want to welcome our new member of the commission, Gerard McAuliffe. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
I want to say thank you to Michael Romeo for his service. Michael resigned last week. And with that, we can turn to the minutes. Are there any comments or questions about the draft minutes, which are in your book at tab A? If there are no comments or questions, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor of approving the minutes, raise your hand. Anybody opposed? Seeing none, the motion is carried unanimously. Seth, you've got a number of items you're going to take us through. The first one, or I think either you or Steve is going to take us through the second quarter financial report.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Steve, just make sure, I just want to make sure that the mic's in front of you so the folks who are participating remotely can hear you.
Thank you. For the second quarter ending September 30th, personal service expended was $862,245 for a year-to-date total of $1,845,187. That's 41.7% of our cash budget for personal service. For non-personal service, we expended $341,980. Comprised of that, supplies was about just over $14,000, equipment almost $750, travel $5,400, and contractual services was just above $315,000. Of that amount, however, that is traditionally a high number, but of that amount, we had litigation costs of $174,000 that was incurred from April through the second quarter. So that's why that number's a little high. So year to date for non-personal service, we spent $561,000, or 50%, just over 50% of our budget. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Seth, do you want to take us through the next item?
Yeah, we had a meeting of the management committee to talk about the budget proposal. We have submitted the commission's budget request for the coming fiscal year, consistent with last year's request. It is going to hold spending flat, no increase. We were able to live within our means last year. We have some things we'll be doing this year in terms of hiring, but that's all within the existing budget. And I don't think we've had any, Steve, we've had no comments yet back from DOB. And
no.
We keep in touch with them during the whole budgeting process in any event.
Questions for Seth? Thanks. Why don't you take us, I think the next two items are related, outreach activities, and tell us where we are on our draft comprehensive lobbying regulations, which we put out the week before last, was it?
Sure. Yep. And they are posted on our website. A couple of miscellaneous items in terms of general outreach. We do have an ethics officer forum scheduled November 14th, I believe, meeting with all the ethics officers around the state to discuss items of interest. We have our mid-year lobbying report. That will be coming out within the next week or so, and that's being prepared and being put into final form. Side note, also academic FGSs are going to be due mid-November as well. Specifically on outreach and really outreach on the comprehensive lobbying regulations, we are starting to get requests from practitioners for walkthroughs on those lobbying regulations. Staff Martin and Carol walking individuals through those regulations. It's going to be just part of the process of taking in ideas and recommendations and suggestions that we can summarize and present to you, staff presenting to the commission, based on this trial balloon that we've put out there. As an example, this past Friday, I was part of a CLE panel at the Wagner School at NYU under the auspices of City and State, and a good portion of my presentation was on the lobbying regulations. You should know that a number of the folks who spoke after me were very pleased that we would be incorporating our ideas in the form of regulations rather than advisory opinions. So I know that there are a number of commissioners who feel strongly about it, and it's an approach that makes a great deal of sense. There was interest expressed by good government groups to learn more about them as we go forward. To that end, we have scheduled a hearing in New York City, a public hearing on December 7th. That's a Wednesday, starting in the morning, going into the afternoon. We've heard from a few commissioners that have said that they will be able to attend, a few will not be able to, but we welcome all commissioners, and hopefully we will get a reasonable interested turnout where we can get comments, get suggestions, get criticisms, get compliments, or whatever else comes out, to be able to put that information, as I suggested, together for the Commission's consideration as these matters are before you, to help determine whether, if there should be lobbying regulations, what form they should take. Our meetings with individuals about these regulations and comments as they come in, we're collecting them and digesting them, and hope to be able to send them back to you in a usable form for your consideration. I think that's about it.
Questions, comments? Thanks, Seth. You'll keep us posted as we get closer to the hearing on what we need to do to prepare for those of us who are going to attend, and I certainly encourage as many of you who can attend, you should attend. This is a rare opportunity for us to get some early feedback in a public setting, so the more that we can show our participation, I think the more important it is for the regulated community to see that. Let's talk about our meeting schedule for the first half of 2017. I know we distributed a proposed list of dates for meetings. One of those dates in May on what was sent around. There's a conflict. We're going to move that, I think, by a week or so. Earlier, so that the conflict can be avoided due to a religious holiday. I'd encourage you, we don't have to do this now if you don't want to, but please make sure you give a look to this schedule, get back to the staff at your earliest convenience so that we can finalize the schedule and we can all know what our schedule is, our meeting schedule is for the first half of next year. Anything else on anything else on that?
None of that. I was just thinking in terms of the hearing. Our website has the details, and we'll have more details on the website about the hearing. But it's going to be at 90 Church Street. P.S. Or it's
the federal. What is it? The federal.
It's the post office. 90 Church is the federal post office.
And it will be webcast as well. We invite folks to watch it. Those who can't attend, it should be gripping. But that'll be available as a webcast as well.
Right. So for those here in Albany who want to follow the hearings and don't make it down to New York City, they can follow it on the webcast if they want to watch. Anyway, if there is no other business that we need to conduct at this point in our public session, I will entertain a motion to enter into executive session pursuant to executive law section 9419B to take up matters that under statute we are required to do in executive session. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, raise your hand. Any opposed? Seeing none, the motion carries. We'll enter into executive session. When we complete our work in executive session, we'll return to public session. To the extent permitted by law, we will report to the public on the business we conducted in our executive session. Thank you.
You talk to Dan first. Chair, we're okay.
Okay. Just because I think there was an issue with the microphone, I'll just repeat what I said a minute or two ago. During our executive session, the commission received an update on litigation matters from our general counsel. We discussed various personnel matters with the staff. The commission approved a report and recommendation in the hearing in the matter of State Advisors LLC with regard to State Advisors' failure to file lobbyist registrations and bi-monthly reports. The commission approved a substantial basis investigation. The commission approved the settlement of a substantial basis investigation. The commission received updates from the staff on several open investigative matters and adjourned certain decisions in those matters. The commission authorized the staff to communicate with outside parties regarding a number of open investigations. The commission considered and closed with the instructions to send guidance letters on free matters, and the commission received from the staff updates on a number of open investigations we are conducting. If there is no other business before the commission at this point, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. George moves. Is there a second? Seymour seconds. All in favor? Raise your hand. Anybody opposed? Seeing none, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody. We will see you next month.